Let's make sure the audio and everything's
What's
working.
going on, my guy?
Hey, brother. Yeah, that's way better. All right. Love it.
Yes,
Awesome. How have you been, my man? What's going on?
I've been good. Just busy. Running around the house. I guess I haven't really left, but making music and shooting clips and reels and promotion, and so just doing a lot of stuff to try to get ahead.
That's
How
sick,
about you?
man. I was actually just listening to Rock Bottom, and that's a banger, man. That's actually
Rock Bottom.
That is absolutely so far. I love Brother I Ever Knew, but dude, Rock Bottom is a hit, dude. That's awesome,
Bro.
That
crazy.
slaps. Yeah.
Thank you, man. I got this song comes out next week called Undefeated. It's dope. It's about, basically I took so many, I've been beat up so many times, like just by the world. And, a lot of losses, right?
For sure.
Addiction, homelessness, foster care, things like that. But since I never gave up, I technically never lost. That means I'm still undefeated.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, absolutely.
But Rock Bottom, I love that. You know where I got the inspiration for that song from?
Nah, go for it. Well,
Eminem.
Yeah, I don't want to just randomly.
Eminem.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't want to keep because I've said it a couple of times now. Some of your hits really do remind me of like the early Shady days, and I didn't want to keep just putting you in that pigeonhole, man, because you've got your own style, but it's good.
That you couldn't do any bigger compliment, bro. Eminem's the reason why I got into music. 1999, I was 9 years old, and I realized when I first heard him, I wanted to do music for the rest of my life. Started making music at 11, so I draw so much inspiration from Eminem. Like, early days, newer stuff. Like, that is my biggest idol when it comes to music. So I'm always. It's so funny because I've tried not to rap like I rap, and it's like almost impossible. But I can't change my voice for some reason, and everyone's like, it sounds like Eminem. I was like, hey, I'll take it.
Oh,
There's
absolutely.
nobody I'd rather sound like,
Yeah, that's a mad compliment for sure. Yeah, look, I obviously awesome to catch up with you as always, man. So, just welcoming the audience as always. Welcome to the Modcast Podcast, everybody. It's just fantastic. it's just a surreal thing being able to catch up with you, dude, and being able to have this back and forth conversation about everything we've worked on, and everything we're going through for ourselves. Because I'm still really active, and it's cool that we approach things from such different avenues, but. We're essentially spreading the same message that rebuilding is all that it takes. Trying again is all that it takes. So that's why I wanted to touch base with you again this week. It's been a couple of weeks since our last catch up. And, as often as you want to do it, I'm happy to catch up whenever you want to. But this is more of like the first one was kind of like an introduction to like your message, what you've been doing, the tour, and like, building a little bit of your authority and more than what you've already got, for your own fan base. But for the people listening to my podcast and the people that may not be aware of who you are, showing them a little bit of yourself and how chill you are and the kind of guy you are, dude. But ultimately, I wanted to catch up with you today because you do a lot of work with people that are trying to rebuild their life, trying to get whether that's get clean or get out of prison and like fix their lives. So I wanted to touch base more on the meat of how you do that. Some of the things you talk to people about. So I guess. My biggest question to you to start with is, how much do you interact with people directly about their recovery and their journey? Like I was touched that you got back to me.
Yeah.
You're a very down to earth dude. And you're very
Thank
humble.
You.
So,
Thank you.
What makes you want to have this personal connection with your audience? Like what makes you want to talk to people directly?
Of course. And, just to touch on real quick what you said, getting back to everybody, I think it's important because, we don't have to have this platform that people give us, right? Because if no one showed us love and shared our stuff and watched it, we wouldn't have a voice. I would just be some guy rapping to myself in my own studio, which I'm okay with. But so I will never forget all the help that people have shown me. So I always give people the time of day. And I really hope that's a quality of me that never changes. As far as how much do I interact with people about their recovery, as much as they want to interact, right? I try to catch as many messages as I can. I get about 100 a day, easily throughout all the platforms. But I'm always in my phone, right? So, I always tell people, if I don't answer, make sure you send another message, send it to the top, because I might have just missed it, or
Mm.
it gets flooded. And a lot of times when Facebook loads up, it never shows me all my notifications. But yeah, especially I do it online. I try to interact with people and encourage them when I see like their Facebook posts, social media posts, because I know what it's like to get love and how good it feels. And just to have one person cheering you on kind of lightens your mood, and it encourages you to keep on going. So it basically as much as they want, but at the Road to Recovery tour, I always try to save time aside before the event, preferably after the event, just because before setting up sound, audio,
Mm.
I'm kind of getting the right headspace. But I love talking with people, and I always encourage people, hey, when I get off stage, don't be afraid to come see me. I'll be at the merch table, but you don't have to buy something if you just want to come over and talk. I would love to shake your hand. I would love to get a picture with you. I would love to hear your story, right? And I think it's very important about that because, for one, us as humans, we're selfish people, right? So, for one, I get something out of it. It reminds me what it was like back in active addiction, because
Mm.
I'm traveling around now. I have over 7 years clean. I'll have 8 years coming up in November, right? No fronts, can't claim them. But look, so here's the deal: is when things been going so well for a while, you kind of forget what the sharp pains were of active addiction. You kind of
Dude.
forget. It
Yeah.
becomes dull. You remember, but the pain isn't as alive and vivid in your memory.
Mm.
It's kind of like a quiet noise. You kind of throwing a blanket over that noise now. You could hear the
100%.
sounds, but it isn't as loud.
100%.
So I interact with people because you know, it helps keep me clean. It reminds me what it was like to want something and keep telling myself, oh, this is the last time. This is going to be the last time. Tomorrow I'm going to change. And how many times I didn't. And I finally get a clean date because I'm in handcuffs, and then I get released and start the cycle back again.
Yeah.
Um, but also, I like to talk to people because, some of these people don't have someone they could talk to, or maybe it's a real special thing, to when someone wants to open up about their life
For sure.
because they're becoming vulnerable. And if you shut them down, that might cut off the future times that they want to share. They're coming to me wanting to talk because they feel a connection, a relatability. Not only does that mean I did my job right, which is a big compliment, but I get a chance to hear their stories, and just to be able to make that connection, look them in their eyes, I feel like it's saving two lives at once.
Oh man,
So
that's
yeah,
beautiful, dude. I love that. Yeah,
thank
no,
you.
the vulnerability thing, it's so hard. Like, it's not just about the gender, man, but I do talk about men's mental health a lot on my podcast because it's something
Yeah,
I truly do try to get the message out there that guys just need to speak more. We need to be able to not be afraid to share our genuine feelings about whatever we're doing in our lives, and we need to be able
yeah,
to, communicate with our community around us. There's a reason why, like, the English language is so beautiful. It can make songs like yours sound so good, man, because
thank you.
communication, community, speaking to people on the
It's
level that they
key.
understand, it's key. And it's yeah, like,
I think
yeah.
I think a lot of people, are afraid to share because, they're surrounding themselves around the wrong people. For one, they're afraid of getting shut down and nobody listening. Or
Mm,
two, maybe they've done it and from experience, they have been not preyed upon, but like, didn't feel validated or heard,
no,
you know?
no.
And so I think it's important, for people to, as men, females, whatever, right?
Mm,
Ladies, our lovely ladies, right? They should have a safe space to express themselves. And not only that, but they should have boundaries and make sure that you're around the right circle,
for sure.
because that's what's truly going to make you thrive, right? Even if you're an introvert like me, I shouldn't say I'm an introvert, that's overused. I prefer to stay at home. I prefer to stay at
You're a
home,
homebody.
but like, I still have a great circle that I lean out with and message every day and share stuff with,
For
and,
sure.
look for opinions because that's important. It's important for men's health, ladies' health. Like, we got to have people that we can talk to where there's that safe space. We
Mm.
have to be able to express ourselves.
Oh, absolutely. And oh man, like, it is so crucial that you can be honest about what you're doing with your life, what you're trying to achieve. It's so crucial to be able to be honest about your mistakes, especially those you trust, because
Yeah.
that's when people shut down. And once someone shuts down that first couple of times, opening them back up again gets harder and harder and harder, and that's how people get stuck in these cycles, especially cycles of addiction. And it doesn't even have to be addiction, but like when someone falls off that wagon and they go back into the woes of their mental health, they go back into the darker area, they don't want to tell people because they don't want to disappoint people. And that's like one of the biggest things I try to tell people, because I work with mental health lines and I speak to people as well. I went to, you can't really call it a rehab clinic here, but I went to what's called an acute unit last year and that's when I got in touch with you the first time. And that's when I started following your page and the Dreamers and getting involved with the community more, because I needed more people that understood that I went through a psychotic episode. You know, and because it was the first time in 5 years that I wasn't smoking 24/7, and you know, I'm an autistic individual. I have ADHD as well, so I'm crazy levels of energy. But like without routine, I fall apart. And when I'm smoking, when you're in like the real depths of whatever your vice is, so whether it's alcoholism, whatever it is, when you're obsessed with something that makes you feel good about yourself, your situation, lets you forget things, it also does so much in terms of stopping you from processing what you're dealing with, stopping you from remembering things. Like the last 5 years of my life were a blur for the last 12 months, especially when I tried to hit sobriety. Like that first 3 months of trying to get sober was insane. Like I was absolutely manic. I was arguing with everybody. It was the first time in my life that people probably saw that side to me that was just toxic and angry all the time, because I hid it so well for such a long time, because I could lean on, you know, the bong and all that sort of stuff whenever I was having a bad day. You wouldn't see me having a bad day. So then suddenly when I didn't have that vice to lean on, I destroyed so many bridges in my life. I burnt the place to the ground. And I'm really happy to say now, because of that experience, I'm really aware of who I am. And I build nothing but true, honest, quality friendships because of it now. You know what I mean?
That's the way to do it. I am telling you, bro. Keep going. You're saying some good stuff. You're really great. Keep going.
It's just more so about getting that message out to people that, you know, if you have set this goal for yourself, like, bro, I write analytics upon analytics. This is like a timeline of my life that I've written the last couple of days. Like
numbers and analytics and everything.
this is literally like ages 5 to 13. This is, you know, because my favorite thing is self-reflection is the way to avoid deflection. You know what I mean? You reflect on yourself so you don't just keep telling people the wrong thing. And, you know, surround yourself with the right people, what you said before. That is the key.
Huge.
It's massive. Because if you've made these beautiful friendships with people, but you've set up this bar for yourself where suddenly you can't operate at that level anymore, you don't want to tell anyone, and suddenly people are going to see a version of you that you haven't built or made public, and then you're just going to find yourself back at square one. And being able to be honest and open and say, look, I've messed up. I've absolutely done the wrong thing. I've said and done things that I wouldn't normally say to anyone I actually care about. But I was out of my mind, you know, and to find that understanding for people can also be really hard, especially when you care about them. And when it's a double-edged sword, right? When you really care about someone and you know them really well, you're also going to know exactly what to say to really hurt them. And if you're in that headspace where you've fallen off the wagon and you feel like you're either being controlled or judged or pushed, you might say some nasty stuff that you can't take back, and you have to then find a way to forgive yourself, or you will just go back to stage one again, and it'll just repeat and repeat. It's
true. It's true, because, like, you know, me and my wife have a rule that we made on day one. Right? When we talked about possibly dating, you know, we said that we can't call each other outside of our names. You know what I'm saying? We can't say certain stuff to each other no matter how frustrated we get. And we haven't.
So good.
Don't get me wrong. We've had arguments and we've had disagreements, but we have never called each other outside of our name or tried to say anything that's hurtful. Because I've done that with every relationship in the past. I've done it with every single girl. I've cheated on basically every single girl in the past, all these different things. But I approach this relationship from a different point of view. And all the experiences that I've had in my past I had so much time to reflect this last time when I was in prison because I was mean. I would make fun of my friends in front of a stranger to get validation.
Mm.
I wanted all this acceptance because I was
Mm.
broken inside, but I didn't know it because I was numbing myself with all these drugs, and
Yeah.
I was quiet in the noise. So when I got a chance to sit in prison and reflect on my behaviors and the way I treated people, relationships, you know, like significant other relationships or just friends, um, I really didn't like what I had to reflect on. I didn't
Mm.
like that I had so many nasty things that I did and the way I treated people. That wasn't who I am as a person. And it hurt my heart. And I realized that's not the way I want to lead myself in life or want to be remembered as. And so I kind of made a commitment that day. Don't get me wrong, I could still be a little snarky. I could still kind of be a little mean and stir the pot and you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I work on it. I got an anger problem. I work
For
on it
sure.
a
Yeah, I
lot.
get you. Mm.
Every once in a while something leaks out, but I'm able to catch it and I'm able to see it and try to shut it
Yeah,
down.
you
But
apologize, you
like,
tuck it back in. I get it. Yeah.
and that's the thing, and I will apologize for my actions. If I get called out and I'm like, oh, gee, sorry. You know what? You're right. I'm wrong.
Shouldn't have done that.
But I can
Mm.
do that nowadays, and it's like
Mm.
me and my wife. We have a wonderful relationship. We encourage each other. We have such a safe space. She's not afraid to call me out if I'm being a turd. You
Yeah.
know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
I love that.
Or
Yeah.
like, what? Why did you say that? And you're like,
Mm.
you're right. And she's like, are you doing this because of that? And I'm like, yeah, I guess I am. She's like, okay, well maybe you should like slow it down and take a second to process. And I'm
Man,
like, dang.
that is I had the exact same interaction. It's amazing what you can learn
Yeah.
from self-reflection, because I'm now
Yeah.
picking up on what I actually need to work on. And not only that, but I need to, like, I'm picking up on where I trip over myself in terms of my faults. And like the biggest
Yeah.
thing in my life that I've always struggled with ever since I was like young is I don't feel good enough. And like, it sounds funny, but like, it's pretty much that's going to be such a relatable thing, but it's not necessarily just about like, oh, everyone doesn't feel good enough at some point. No, I mean, I literally, regardless of my level of success,
Yeah.
I've reached some of the highest echelons of like sales and
Yeah.
things and made some
Yeah.
really dope money. Regardless, didn't feel good enough. Nothing was ever good
Yeah.
enough. And then I would destroy whatever I was working on. I would be in a beautiful relationship and then I would destroy it
Blow it
because
up.
I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not good enough for this. Get away from me. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I would do whatever I needed to make myself fit the image that I was telling myself I was. And that's crazy to me. I look back on all the people I've heard over the years, whether they're friends, family,
Yeah.
relationships. I think back on all of that, and like, I love how candid and honest you are about the fact that you've had a history of like, you've cheated and you've done this and that and
Yeah.
you've shown nice behavior. Me too, brother. And that's what
Yeah.
I mean, is people need to be able to face that image. They need to be able to face what they've done. Stop ignoring it. Stop looking at it and going, that's not me. Let's ignore that it's not there and just not do it anymore.
Yeah.
Face it.
That's
Apologize
my
to
whole brand.
yourself
That's
and the
my
people.
whole brand. Be vulnerable. Be vulnerable. Understand who you are as a person and try to work on your character defects so they don't become your shortcomings.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Just because you got 4 flat tires don't mean you have to drive on them. And that's the thing is like, you have to do so much stuff. You know how many times I walk past the mirror and I tell myself I look, dumpy, ugly, I'm chunky, like all these things. I hear my music, I think it's crap, like, all this type of stuff. I tell me I'm not good enough. Like the inner voice of myself is always telling me these things, even to this
Oh,
day.
it's hard.
It don't matter what happens. Like later that night when I'm walking past the mirror, or whatever, I'm always saying stuff about myself. And I think that is something a lot of people deal with.
Mm.
But I do understand I am making progress. And when I look back, I try to only look back to see how far I've come, right?
Absolutely.
I try to not let my past, dictate my future.
Mm-hmm.
But I love being vulnerable. I believe that is when the healing happens. There's that sports metaphor. I don't know if I said it last time. I say this a lot. About you're only as strong as your weakest link. Usually it's referring to like building your teammates up because, but I believe that that's the way we should work on ourselves. At least that's what works on me. Because by identifying where I need work on, I am able to strengthen it and able to round myself out. And I think that's very important because, you know, coming from addiction, coming from foster homes, coming from abandonment issues, you know, a past where I haven't really treated people kindly and I haven't made the best decisions, I'm all in and double down on my future. You know, and I think that's huge. And the only way I can get there is by acknowledging who I really am as a person and trying to understand myself on a deeper level.
Raise the
You know,
roof,
and
brother.
that's
Speak
how
your
we're gonna get there.
truth. Ah,
You have to.
so
Have to.
refreshing to hear it, man. It's so hard to get people just to own it. Like, it's
Yeah.
it's the last 12 months for me has been a journey of self-reflection and really, really getting to know myself, and to the point where, like, I wasn't going to reach out and do this podcast stuff until I was ready to fully face the man in the mirror and the shit I've done and the people I've burned along the way. And it's hard. Like, you've made an absolute silver bullet of a statement there, because it is about recognizing. It is about recognizing, analyzing, but don't stay there. You know, like,
Yeah.
you can reflect, and this comes into, I've done like some psychological videos recently on like my favorite psychologists over the years. And one of my favorites is, his name's Adler, and Adler's philosophy is, because there's two main ones. Our whole society is built on the learnings of Sigmund Freud. He's like the big therapist guy. Like, everyone comes from Freud if they've followed a psychological degree. And Freud talks about your childhood. He talks about your traumas. He gets you to speak about them. And he goes into, like, there's a lot of other concepts I won't go into, but he goes into like the pathology of how you bring your childhood with you and you get stuck in that, and you talk about it and you talk about it. And a lot of people, they will talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. But then if they don't own it, if they don't actually go, enough is enough, it's time to change, let's work on that.
Yeah.
They'll get stuck on regulatory techniques, but then they start using those techniques as an excuse for the behavior. Like, that's just my trauma. That's just who I was.
Yeah.
That's just how I was raised. Like, you hear that so often in our society, but what you just said, you take ownership of what you've done. You listen to yourself. You get help, firstly. 100% you get help. But own your mistakes. Work on the pathway forward. And then figure out what you need to do so you break the cycle. You don't just learn how to control the cycle, you leave it. And
you have to.
It's so important. And that's why Adler helped me.
You know, it's so funny. I haven't done it in a few years, thank God. But there's, you know, sometimes I'm being a grown man throwing a temper tantrum or getting angry, you know. And my lady doesn't like it, obviously. My wife doesn't like it, because who would, right? And she'll say something. She's like, "Yeah, you're really angry or something. You know, what's this about?" And I tell her something, and then I get even more mad because she confronts it.
Don't
and
call
I'm
me
like,
on it.
I'm like, listen, if you knew how far I've come, like, you wouldn't even be upset right now. And then I thought about it, and I was like, I have come far away, but it doesn't mean she still deserves this.
100%.
And I still got to acknowledge it. Like, I want to be the poster child for somebody who, you know, has turned their life around and doesn't let their past define them. Instead, it lets them motivate them, right? By turning all that pain into fuel. And I think, you know, if I stopped, like, you know, if I thought I was perfect and stopped being able to internalize all the mistakes that I'm still making today, the growth would stop, right? If I thought that I was healed, if I thought I was repaired. So it's always going to be progression. It's always going to be a journey, but it's up to ourselves to get out of our way and accept our flaws and realize that there's still work to do, right? Because you don't want to be the smartest one in the world or the smartest one in the room, right? You want to be the dumbest one because you want to be able to learn, right?
You want to be accepted for your flaws and keep building on them, for sure.
You have to.
Oh, that's
Absolutely.
awesome. Dude, the fact you bring up your misses, it's so funny. Because during the self-reflection journey I've been on, the biggest one I've found is, our communities are important. And, like, you might not be someone that needs the relationship. You might be a homebody or a hermit or someone, you might not need that romantic connection. But, like, my biggest saving grace in my last 12 months, I owe so much to my missus, because she has shown me just this level of warmth and forgiveness that has never existed in my world. Like, and it's an unrelenting warmth and forgiveness. Like, I might say something that doesn't sit right with her, and instead of just attacking me on it, she'll process, and then she'll go, let's work out what that was, because I can clearly see that wasn't you. And it's gotten to the point now where, as well, whilst I'm not saying it is the responsibility of people in our lives to fix our flaws, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the journey of self-reflection is so hard that finding that understanding for other people is necessary. And yes, you've said it perfectly. If you call me on my behavior in the moment, it might escalate a little bit, because I might I might feel that guilt, that shame. It's things I've noticed other men in my life do.
Instead of reflecting.
Exact. Thank you. Because I've got other blokes in my life I've grown up around. We're an imprint of our child psychology. You know what I mean? Like we grow up with these things because we surround ourselves with people that do these things, and we go, well, that's how I'm going to behave, because you don't even realize that that's what you're doing. And I had the perfect example of this 2 days ago. I got annoyed because my missus has only had to work, I think, 2 days a week before last, 2 days last week, 2 days this week. Normally she works more than that, but like I work full time. I work multiple jobs, and I don't earn as much as she does. And there's probably people out there that can relate to this. It's such a stupid old-fashioned thing, but because I don't earn as much as she does, I feel like a lesser man, and that's a me problem. That is a me problem, you know.
That I deal with that.
Yeah, and she says to me, I only have to work 2 days this week, and boy, I was foul. Like I was like, so when do you actually work? And that was some toxic energy that came out of me, because and like within 10 minutes of me saying that, she kind of looked at me like, well, you have a kid then, like, you know, because she's got a kid, she has a little one she has to look after, so that's why she doesn't work as much as I do. And she's like, well, you have a kid then, and come back to me. And I stopped, and I was like, yeah, that was a bit of a dick move. So I just looked at her and I said, look, I'm sorry. I get a bit jealous because you earn more than I do and I work more than you do, and I just get frustrated about it, you know. And when we kind of just moved on, and it can be such a small thing, but the fact that I was able to go, yeah, my bad, and then she was able to see that you weren't actually trying to be a douche. Like, you just, you know, it just came out for a second. Because, like, I've got my own vices, man. My biggest issue in life is I don't feel good enough. So if I feel like I'm not doing enough to earn this amazing love that I have, if I don't have enough to be able to provide for her at a moment's notice or whatever, I'm going to be like, well, I don't deserve you. Why are you here? If you earn more than me, why are you here? And it's such a horrible mindset. Because she's here because she loves me, brother. It's that simple.
I know. I deal with it too. You know, money's been real good with this music. Like, since I went full-time music like 5 years ago, right? You know, we do our thing, and it's like the last, for some reason, about a year, it's been a lot slower. Right, and then we have off season. So I always feel this way during off season. Tour's done because you make a lot of money during tour, but then tour's done, and so like we had, you know, quite a bit of debt because we invest a lot into our business, and you know, and then we just got married, and so there goes like another tens of thousands of dollars, and like you know, when the money's not coming, and like she has her cleaning business that she does on top of doing music, but like I just do music, so it's I feel like my job to rake in all the money on the music, set up the gigs, we do all our booking, we do make sure everything's monetized, make sure the streams are going, promotion, and so like it doesn't matter like how much success I find if the money isn't rolling in at that moment. I feel like a bum.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, 100%.
Like, because she's out grinding, and like, for me to give her a kiss at her car, she pulls away every day, and I go back in the studio and I'm recording. And I'm just like, I feel as a man, I feel like, especially somebody who's made good money.
Yeah.
Like from, you know, selling drugs, or I even did like sales for like credit card processing. I was a manager, and then like, you know, music has made good money, and then it's just like this whole shift. Is just like I'm always so hard on myself, you know, and that's sometimes why I just feel like a failure. It doesn't matter how much success, numbers are going up everywhere, but if the money ain't feeling like what it was or what I expect it to be, I get hurt. I get emotionally hurt.
And spiteful of yourself.
Yeah, it can be tough. It can be challenging, but you know, I'm so lucky. She grinds her butt off so hard, and you know. And allows me to do this full time, you know, even when the money isn't coming in like it used to at certain points. And, I should just be blessed. But like, I could work 16 hours. I've been working 16-hour days, reels, this, social media, like just music, right?
Mm,
And at the end of the day, if I forget one thing, I'm so hard on myself. I'm like talking crap. My lady's like, listen, chill. You need to be nice to yourself. She's
man.
like, go get on the games and relax. I'm like, I can't. I gotta do this. I gotta do this. And then I start like spiraling,
Mm,
And she's like, you just need to like relax.
100%.
I was
Yeah.
like, ah,
It's
but
so.
it's all because of like making less, or it hurts. It
It's
hurts
because
my
of your
pride.
upbringing and stuff, and because of the mistakes you've made, where you're like, I need to be doing better, and that's yeah,
Yeah,
and I think that's another part of the break in the cycle, dude. Honestly, like, that's that's actually one of the things I said to my missus, because like not even 2 or 3 hours after she'd just been so wonderfully understanding. She's always so wonderfully understanding to me and my shit. And then one thing, she'll do something that could be perceived as the wrong thing to do, whatever she's doing. Like, I think she was doing something with like medication and she spilled
yeah,
something. And she was just so frustrated because that was essentially a waste of money. She had to clean it up and she's like, well, we can't
yeah,
use this now. And she was so frustrated herself and like just absolutely hard on herself as she always is. And I was just like immediately like, this is the most beautiful thing about when you surround yourself with the right people. The energy she gives me, I will give
hmm
back to her tenfold as well.
yeah,
Like, and so in that moment, it was just instantly like, you are being so hard on yourself. What is this in the grand scheme of things? $30 a
yeah,
medication compared to what it could have been. Like,
yeah,
we can figure it out and get more. It's not a big deal, you know. And she's like, but
yeah,
it's time, it's money, it's frustration. And then the real frustrations came out. It's the we've had a long day, we don't have any time left. And
yeah,
it's kind of then hearing that real, like, this is the actual problem, and we
yeah.
can now work through this, you know. And that is the biggest thing about understanding that initial response. Like, that's what you said, like with you get a bit snarky sometimes, and
Yeah.
myself, like, sometimes I'll just be an outrageous prick for no reason whatsoever.
You
And
know, what I do. You know what one of my flaws is when I'm behind or I'm not feeling good about myself. I'm quick to point out what my wife hasn't done for the day. Like, oh, did you do this? Oh, you haven't. Oh, well, we need to do that by tomorrow, right? It's been a
yeah,
month, and it's like there's sometimes she's like, have you done this? I'm like, no. And she's like, then why are you pointing out what I haven't done? She's like, we both been kicking back, you know? She's
oh,
like, you're
I'm
the one that wanted on the games with me. Why now you want to talk
yeah,
about what I haven't done?
mm-hmm,
And I'm like, ugh, yeah, I'm just not feeling good about myself. That's why when I start getting stressed, I try to relieve some of the pressure by making someone else stressed out. But then I feel bad and sad because how could I do that to her?
Jeez, how many people
You
can you
know?
say that about in your life? I know so many guys that do that, and like probably women too. But like I can only think of immediate men in my life that do that, and that's insane. Because I do that sometimes too. Like
Yeah,
we all fall over that crux. Because if we feel shame about something we should have done, we're gonna want to
yeah,
share the guilt. We
I
don't want to
have to.
feel it all ourselves. We want to share
It's
that
only
guilt. So
right. Mama taught me to share.
right, exactly. But that's horrible in some ways, because you're like,
It is.
oh yeah, I definitely didn't do that, but you didn't do this. Like, that is such a horrible instant, you know. And I do
Yeah.
that as well. Like, literally the same thing. I think my missus said to me the other day, yeah, well, I told you need to be drinking more water, and I was just like, well, have you been having your multivitamin? And she's just like, okay, we haven't talked about that in a couple of days. That's going to come up now, is it? Like, you know, because
Yeah.
again, it's like, oh, you're going to take a shot, I'm going to take a shot, and it's such a horrible, like, you got to break that cycle too. It's so
It's
funny you
crazy.
said that,
It's
man.
crazy.
It's nuts.
Be- it is crazy because I find myself doing that, and it doesn't feel good, right? I try to say something, and I'm like, "Ugh, now she's stressed out. Now I feel bad. But it's I've talked about this before. I feel bad for my wife. I'm really kind. I'm really loving. I'm loyal. I try to be the best man I can and be the best version of myself, right? But she gets the worst out of me than everybody else because, like, I go out to everybody else and I'm an angel. I pop out the house and I'm, yes, please. Oh, thank you so much. And, oh, I value you. And you know what I'm saying? And all this kind stuff that I do. And I treat
Mm,
everybody so professional.
mm,
But it's like, she's the one that gets all my attitudes. She's the one that gets all my crankiness,
yep.
all my
She gets my
and I feel
huffing and
bad
slamming a
because
cupboard after a bad day. Yeah,
you
dude,
know,
I
it's
get
like
it.
that's the one person I wish I could be the nicest to. It's like,
Absolutely.
why do I do it to the person I love the most? Everybody else should be, these strangers should be catching my dude. You
You
know
want
what
to
I'm
know what the
saying?
beautiful thing about it, though, is the one thing
What?
is that you can remind yourself is because she allows you to feel your genuine self in that moment. And
She does. She does.
that's what I said the
You know,
moment. I trust her to be grateful for that.
yeah, I try to be good. You know, it's crazy because, I always point out, I try to reflect on my actions, right? Like I said, I haven't always been the nicest person, right?
Mm,
And so I remember I was at it. It's funny because sometimes when I try to have accountability. I remember
mm,
like I think it was last year. I was in Texas. I was on a show, and it's funny because I catch myself not sometimes being kind of mean or short with random people when it's not like when people don't know me because I can't be held accountable for what I say or do.
mm.
And this story's so embarrassing, but I remember I was there and there's like this meat place, right? That's like
Mm.
really good. It's Texas, right? It's like smoked barbecue and ribs and
Mm.
just incredible food.
Take me
And I
there.
went there and I got some stuff. It's like a cafeteria line. You go through the line, you tell them what they want, they cut it off,
Yeah,
you sit
yeah,
down, you
we've
eat
got
with
one of
your
those
tray,
here. Oh,
right?
they're so good.
Okay.
Mm.
And so I went there and I said what I wanted, and dude, they weighed on the scale right in front of you. And I looked at it and I was like, hey, that isn't the proper way. I was like, you shorted me. And he's like, what are you talking about? I was like, I don't know if you guys just can't do math here in Texas. I was like, but it was so gross. I was like, I come from like selling dope. I know what a half pound is,
I
how
know
many
how to.
ounces, how many grams.
I can
I was
weigh an
like,
ounce.
yeah. And he looked at me and he's like, was just so confused. And I don't think he spoke much English, but I kind of went in on him, basically like
Mm.
insinuating you must be dumb or stupid. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? And then when I walked away, I felt so bad and I was thinking about the situation. And here's the kicker. I started doing the math in my head again, and I realized he overhooked me up. And so like I was looking on it, it was like in a certain weight category than what I was thinking. So I made the mistake, and Mr. Me,
Mm.
who knows it all, flashed on this guy. I'm in line. I'm like, oh, that you shorted me up, 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 up. I'm like, you must be stupid, basically.
Mm. Yeah.
And I was like, yo, homeboy hooked me up. And I made the mistake, and that's the way I treated him.
Mm.
Like he like way overdid me. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Almost gave me like 30-40% more, and I was like, oh my God.
That.
And
Yeah.
so I had to go back and apologize, but
Well, that's the
I was
best
like,
part that you did, man.
I had to, because I was like, I don't know who I was riding in on my high horse like that, thinking, oh, no one knows me. I could cause a big scene, but then I pop around and everybody's like, oh, Mr. Skylar Ray, such an angel and so nice.
Mm.
But it's like, no, I was very disgusting right there.
Mm. Oh, during
But
my
that's what I'm talking about.
Oh,
Like,
brother, during my little stint into the unit last year when I was getting that sobriety part happening, right before I'd gone in, I was acting manic. Like, because it was just
mhm.
argument left, right, and center. And I was, because it was to the point where, like, I've always been a very reserved person publicly. Like, I've always been, like, I'm a people person, like, in a lot of
Yep.
ways, because people are my passion, but I'm very polite. I don't like confrontation, and I have to be very pushed. And I don't like confrontation in the sense of where it's like a physical, in-person aspect. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I'll deal with it if I have to, but it's not something I seek out. And
Yeah.
but it got to the point where like I'd made myself like that for such a long time that I got this thing in my head where I'm like, anything I disagree with, I'm just gonna voice it, and that was great
Yeah.
for my growth. Not great for my relationships. And, I had an instance just like yours where I had this one guy who was, every time I'd go into this gas station, he would have headphones in and he'd be talking to some other person on the line. I was just like, where is your customer service? I'm right here, man. Like, talk to me,
Yeah.
And it was like the third time, and I flashed him up. I was so frustrated. I was just red hot rage. I was just like, brother, there's 5 of us in this line. You haven't said a word to any of your customers in the store. Why are you even here? And I cracked it. And rightfully so in some respects, because it was a very disrespectful interaction. But the following week or something, I saw the manager, and I was still just in a red hot rage because I was still about to go in. I was still chasing that sobriety. And
Yeah.
and I was still in a red hot rage, and I went in and I saw the manager and I just cussed the manager out. She had nothing to do with the situation. She probably wasn't even
Catching
aware,
strays.
you know? And yeah, she
Yeah.
did. She catch strays, and I walked in and I just was like, your stores, and like, just let her have it. And then I think 3 months later, after I was back out of the acute unit, 3 months later, I came back in and I saw she was working, and like I went to this gas station all the time, and I went in and I could visibly see on her face she felt uncomfortable when I walked in, because she was like, this guy's a flight risk, you know, you could see it. And the first thing I said to her was, hey, look, I am really sorry. Like, you may or may not remember me. I'm sure you do. But I came in a few months ago and I absolutely let you have it for the conduct of one of your employees. I should never have spoke to you like that. And I do apologize. And she was like, just so happy after I said
elated,
that. Like, she was just so like, that's fine. No, it's like, it's totally fine. And I said, it's not, but I just wanted to say sorry, because like I can see that you felt visibly uncomfortable, and like I should never make you feel that way. And it's just such an important thing, because you can own that, and you'd actually be surprised how much people will just love you for the fact that you will go, I fucked up.
Yeah.
And I'm
we're
so
not
sorry
perfect.
about that.
We're not perfect, and we don't have to be.
Exactly.
But you know, I think we do have a duty to ourselves to want to change and want to be better. You know, because that's what life is about. It's about evolution. It's about, you know, not only adapting to survive, but adapting to yourself and your
100%.
reality. I think this is
100%.
very huge. I mean, that's how we got here, is evolution. So who are we to stop evolving ourselves, right? There's
Absolutely.
always work to be done. There's always things that we can do better. And if anybody's listening, I'm not saying, you know, give yourself some grace, because it takes time. And, you know, even when you think you make progress, you're going to take 5 steps back. And that's just the way life is. But here's the thing you know, we start from wisdom. You know, when you go backwards, you know how to make it back to where you were, because you've done it before. You have experience, you know, and so it's important to always be honest. And if we can't be honest with ourselves, then I think we need to look ourselves in the mirror, because there's a serious issue going on. You know, I don't always want to be honest with myself, but deep down, you know what the truth is. You know what the truth is.
It's
You know,
hard. It's a hard gig.
it's hard.
Honesty is the
It's
foundation
so
for
hard.
tomorrow, though. That's the way I look at it. Is if we can't be honest today, tomorrow's already gonna be harder. It's gonna be harder to rebuild. If you're building on rocky terrain, you need to make that stuff flat. It's that simple.
You have to. You have to.
So,
you know, life is so precious and life is so short. Go ahead. Go ahead.
oh
with the
no,
question.
you're fine. I was literally just gonna say, like, I was gonna say the only other thing, because I could talk to you all day, but we will have to wrap it up very soon.
That's okay.
So I was just gonna say what would be, like, last time I asked you, you know, where would you start, or what would you say to someone if they were stuck in a rut? So I guess this time my question's gonna be, you know, what are some of the could you give us a couple of examples of what you say to people that do fall off the wagon? Like, you know, any advice that you give someone, and it doesn't have to be necessarily about quitting. It could be quitting, or it could be the fact that they might not have been able to find a job for a while, or they might be gaining weight because they've tried so hard on this fitness journey and they just keep falling back into bad habits. Like, so what do you say to someone who's struggling to just stay on course?
Yeah, you know, I tell people, show yourself some grace. Understand that we ain't perfect, that we make mistakes. There's nothing wrong with starting over. It's better to start at day one. Today be day one than someday. I tell people, you know, figure out what you want to do in life, right? Figure out what motivates you. Find a reason and find a why. And I think that's huge, right? I talk to a lot of people that fall off, especially in recovery, and, you know, they become complacent. You know, all that noise, right, with the drugs is like headphones, right? We numb all the feelings, we numb all the emotions. A lot of times we use and we drink because it's fun at first, but then we realize that it's a way to cope, right? And then the addiction kicks in and we just can't stop. We're too far gone, we think, right? Past the point of no return. And so when we take the headphones off, right, that's the drugs or the alcohol, we take it off, all this noise comes in, and, you know, we're trying to please everybody else. We're trying to, you know, make everybody else happy, but we have to do it for ourselves. We have to become enough for ourselves. So figure out what you want to do in life, figure out who you are. And for a lot of us, it's hard because we've been drinking and drugging for so long, we don't know what we want to do with life. We become complacent. We settle. We get that job because money makes the world go around and we have to pay bills. I get that. But then we stop growing and we don't have hobbies. We don't have dreams. We don't have all these things that make a person tick. That's the reason and that's the why. Figure out what gets you out of bed and hungry that makes you want to continue on this path that you were on, right? You can't lose vision, right? We're younger, we want to be doctors, astronauts, rock stars, police officers, firemen, all these NASCAR drivers, athletes. But then the world and reality told us it wasn't realistic and we settled.
Mm.
It's time to stop settling and start living. A lot of people think that getting clean is the finish line. No, that's the starting line, and that's where you gotta keep right in that journey. So I tell people, show yourself some grace and understand that it's never too late and that you could start again tomorrow.
That's just your next save point, brother. You've got a whole new mission ahead of you now. That's
You do.
dude. So good.
do.
I love that. Yeah, my number one thing that I've said in most of my videos is find your reason. You find your why. And it's called your core value. In sales, it's called your dominant buying motive. You find your dominant motive for whatever you're trying to achieve, you won't look at anything else the same way ever again. If you don't know what that is, you got to do some soul searching because it's that simple. That's the reason why they tell you to go on a path-finding journey when you're, whether it be something religious or whether it be something educational. That, there's a reason why people do a pilgrimage because they need to just spend time with themselves to figure out who that person is, what that person wants.
You have to find out what makes you tick, what motivates you, what do you get excited about. Everybody has their own motives, and if you don't know what that is, explore, try different things, because I tell you what, once you build a life that is beautiful, you refuse to negotiate or to hand things over like, no, this is my life and I'm going to fight for it. Absolutely. And that's the thing, not saying that, my life is hard. My life can get hard. It's nowhere near as hard. It's a different type of hard, right?
Absolutely.
It's a different type of struggles
Everyone's
nowadays.
Got their own journey, brother.
And hardships and stress and anxiety. But I'll tell you what, my life is absolutely beautiful, and it's been everything that I've always wanted. I have bigger dreams, right?
Yeah.
But I do find the beauty. This is the journey. I never imagined what the journey would look like to get to the end results. I am currently living in the process and in the journey, and that stops me from making a lot of mistakes. That's why, like, even that accountability comes on when I'm out the country and I can have a drink or I can get high and no one will know and it doesn't attack my reputation. And I'm like, oh, the inner voice is telling me I could probably handle it. I'm more mature now. It doesn't matter because I don't take that. Let me tell you this real quick. I know we got to wrap.
No, you're good.
I have done so many incredible things. Like, I have rocked arenas. I have toured with big name artists. I have traveled to many different countries. I have been able to do such outstanding work with my music. I've worked with multi-platinum selling artists. I've worked with Grammy Award winning sound engineers and producers and all this stuff like that. My childhood idols I've worked with, right? But here's the deal. My biggest accomplishment and my biggest bragging thing that I can say is that my significant other has never seen me under the influence. Not even once. And that is something that I protect at all costs, because I make one mistake or I get high one night or drink one night, I can never say that again. That is such a valuable piece that I protect as much as my clean date. And so it's like, you just have to keep going. Protect what you love. Figure out what you love if you don't know what that is. And hopefully, eventually, along the journey, you will be the one that you love the most. Put yourself first, because here's the deal. Even my wife, everything like that, I have to put myself first before her, before the world, because I love her so much. She deserves the best version of me. And if I don't put myself first and see my needs first, how am I going to provide the best version for her?
Oh,
it's only right. Only right. Take care of yourself, ladies and gentlemen. You have to work on yourself.
Absolutely. And that's awesome, man. Yeah, no, the reason, you got to find your reason, and that's it. And then you can just protect it. You can be fiercely loyal to what your code is. So that's awesome. I think everyone in life is just searching for their own guidebook that makes sense to them. I think that's the reason why you know, you could have every logical reason in the world to doubt things in the universe, but at the end of the day, if religion's your thing, if education's your thing, if athleticism is your thing, you're going to find your code and you're just going to stick to it. And I love that.
You have to.
And you know what?
Thank you.
It's good. Good women, good love, good friends, good business. You know, you build good life as long as all you're trying to do is do the right thing.
Yeah. It's you do positive stuff and positive outlook, positive things that come your way. We all know what it's like to be negative. A lot of negative stuff happens, don't it? You attract what you put out. That's it.
That's awesome. All right, man. Look, thank you so much again for your time today. I love catching up with you. We'll do it again. And as always, I'd love to make this just an ongoing thing whenever we have the time. So it's great just to bounce things off each other and talk about what's going on. So, dude, Rock Bottom, banger. What's the next one?
Undefeated.
Is Rock Bottom on Spotify?
Rock Bottom is out right now. I dropped it last Friday. It's been out for 2 days.
Beautiful.
Dropping brand new music every single Friday. So go check out Rock Bottom. It's incredible.
Links in the chat.
I think a lot of people could relate.
Hey,
let's go.
It's awesome. No, thank you so much again for your time, Skylar. Honestly, it's great catching up, and we will do it again. And this is awesome because it's good just talking about, you know, everyone's journey deserves a spot in the spotlight if it's going to help someone else. So.
Absolutely. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. And be on the lookout. I'm shooting the video for Brother I Never Knew tomorrow.
Oh, hell yeah.
So
I love it.
I'm excited.
All right. No, let me know when it goes up. I'll definitely check it out for sure.
I got you. Thank you, my friend.
Right. Love you, man. Keep it real. Keep it going. I can't wait to see the rest of your work. Good having you on the show.
Yes, sir. Great.
Modcast Podcast, baby.
Yeah, Modcast Podcast, baby. Let's get it.
Let's go. All right, man. I'll catch you later. You have a good day.
All right, my guy.